Jacob, unlike a lot of guys here who are transferred in, you've lived this series. You've been in Knoxville your whole life. When you just hear Tennessee, Florida, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, it means the world, man, because this is what you come to the schools like this for, right? You come for these big rivalries, these big storied matchups between teams, and I think it means a lot this year too because both programs have really good teams. We're both ranked. It's going to be a great matchup. Obviously, they're coming here, and so it's going to be a great environment as far as just in the stadium and in the crowd and the fans and everything. So, this is what you play SEC ball for is weekends like this.
I'm sure the sort of the temperature's up when you play this one the first time. How does it help if you've played it before, the second, the third times? How do you handle it better?
Yeah, just understanding that the crowd, for us it'll be an advantage, but the crowd doesn't matter, right? Like the crowd is the crowd. There's going to be noise. There's going to be, people talking about the game before the game. There's going to be predictions. There's going to be, all these different things that everyone's saying about the game and about each team. And you just kind of have to go into it as, this is just another week. We just have to go into it and try to focus on ourselves and prepare the right way. And at the end of the day, you should be successful in whatever you do. So.
Jacob, Coach just said that this game last year was a turning point for the team and the program. As a player, what was it about the game last year that changed the mindset and the approach for you guys in the locker room?
Yeah, just the realization that a lot of the things that are causing us to not be successful are self-inflicted and can be avoided, I guess, and just having that realization, clicking on the film and seeing, like, on this play, it was the left tackle that messed up, and that's the reason. On this play, it was, the running backs that were wrong in their keys, or we're hurting ourselves because we're getting, penalties on third down, or, having big drops on the perimeter, or the quarterback's not reading the right thing, left or right, whatever it may be. And just coming to that realization that, we're killing ourselves, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. And if we're able to lock in, like I talked about earlier, the preparation piece and being ready for the game, truly mentally and physically ready for the game, we'll give ourselves a much better chance to win. And we're able to take that into the next few weeks of the season and carry that into this season as well.
Jacob, were there a couple of other takeaways from the game? Obviously, the score got out of hand, but what were some of your takeaways about your offense on Saturday?
This past Saturday? Yeah, I think, so I've heard it a lot, people saying that, we came out slow, right, and we came out kind of lagging. We didn't score the first drive and then put together 6 scoring drives in a row, and, it might have seemed weird just because, we weren't up 28-0 in the first quarter, and I think that it's good because we kind of raised that bar, right? We've raised the bar from people expecting us to, maybe score 20-something points in a game to now people are expecting us to score 20-something points in a quarter. And so, yeah, just go out there and you find your groove. And we talked about it. We watched the film and broke it down. And there's some mistakes that, again, it'll be all over the field. It's not just one position group, but something here and there where all 11 guys aren't executing at the highest level. And obviously, again, found our groove and we're able to kind of, put that one away. But, against really good teams, and Akron was a good team, but against teams that, we want to compete against for championships, those things are going to have to be really clean going into the week, starting off the game.
Jacob, just when you look back at last year's game and then kind of compare it to this year's game, 3-4 games into Josh Heupel and now 16, 17 games in, what would you say is the biggest difference going into this year's game compared to last year?
Just knowing ourselves, man, knowing that we can have confidence in our abilities, can have confidence in the coaching staff. It's weird. I don't remember a whole lot, from last season, details-wise, just because, we're in such a mentality like this. I won't call it a profession, but what we do is very much, focused on the next week, and so you kind of live that way, and then you forget about the details, right? And he asked me earlier about the game, and I was trying to think of what actually happened in the game, right? But man, just going into this game this year, just being able to trust the plan that's going in from the coaches. understanding that, on third down, I know exactly, maybe not exactly, but I have a pretty good idea of where Golish is going with the ball, or where Hype wants to do with the ball in certain situations, certain down distance. So just a better understanding of our offense and what we're trying to get accomplished.
Wes, Blake, and then Patrick.
Jacob, as you sort of think about the running game, each of the first 3 games this season or so far this season overall, how would you grade the running game performance this season? What are some things that you've liked from the running game, and what things you think need to be maybe a little more consistent?
I think some things that I liked is just I'm able to see our backs just hitting it, right? Third down, 3rd and 1. Whereas last year you might have some young guys that might not just trust it and just really go get that 1 yard. And I've seen our guys step up and truly put their head down and go get that yard for us so we can continue our drives and go put points on the board. So running back wise, I think that's one big improvement that they've made. I think on the front, just being super clear in our IDs and who the line's working to, who the tight end's working to, and being on the same page, from the sideline to the field. Whenever they make adjustments, just being able to say, all right, we're no longer double teaming to this guy, let's double team to that guy, and let's get it all figured out. So.
Jacob, growing up here, you obviously have a close-up perspective. When it comes to rivalries, what's your perception of who's Tennessee's top rival, and where does Florida kind of rank in that conversation?
Obviously, yeah, Florida's up there. I think Florida. There's a lot of games that you can win and people not say much about, but this game and the games against other SEC competition are going to be the ones that people care about and the ones that people talk about the most. And so. Yeah, all the other stuff kind of gets pushed aside, and it's all right. How do you go out there and perform against these guys? And so, it'll be a big test, and it'll be a good matchup. And I think, like you said, it's a big game just because of the history and how it's gone the past few years here, and wanting to turn that around and get this place where it should be.
Jacob, a couple of questions. The last 2 weeks, you and Princeton have both had big plays on I guess pop pass, whatever you want to call it, where you guys kind of slip out. What's the key to making that play work from your guys' perspective?
I mean, just honestly being on the right timing, right? Just understanding the defense and understanding, where their safeties are playing, I guess, and them kind of keying in on whatever the defense has going on, and then being able to capitalize on those is really all it is.
And before you talked about sort of the noise and all the talk about this game there's going to be during this week. Do you, as one of the leaders on the team, do you have to sit some of the other guys down and say, hey, we got to stay focused, or you do it by example? How do you sort of set the tone this week?
Yeah, I think I don't think it's been that big of an issue for us on the team, but I think the coaching staff does a really good job of emphasizing, man, it truly doesn't matter. Please don't be on. If you're on Twitter, if you can handle it, if you can look at all that stuff and read what people are saying about your team and about you and about the predictions, if you can handle it in a mature way and understand that, it's just people talking, just people saying whatever, then sure, whatever. You're look at it, you're good, whatever. Maybe use it as motivation to go and be prove somebody wrong or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, it's just a matter of being mature about just understanding that everything is out there and it has nothing to do with what we've got going on and with what we're able to put out there on Saturdays. So,
Jacob, you're more aware of the rivalry because you're from here and grew up within the rivalry. Do you believe that there's a mental hurdle that you all as a team have to overcome on Saturday on top of just executing just because of how the series has gone the last 10, 15 years?
Sure, yeah. I think I guess mental hurdle is a good way to put it. You kind of have to put the past, for me, it's been the past 4 seasons, right? The past 4 seasons behind you and just be every year we go into the game thinking you're going to win the game, right? You don't go into a game being man, it's Florida again, it's Alabama again, it's Georgia, let's just try to go and not lose, right? No, everyone, you genuinely, as a competitor, want to go in the game and win the game. And so, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, you have a snap and clear mentality, it's all about the next. And so can't really think about last year or the years prior and just trying to go out there and win this one.
With your knowledge of the series, when Hendon came in last year, that was his first kind of big start. Mm-hmm. Do you recall any conversations you had with Hendon about the Florida series, about what that game meant a year ago?
I don't really recall anything. Hendon's an older guy. Hendon's played in big games. Hendon has started in big games, and he understood the magnitude of the rivalry just because, I mean, I think a lot of people around college football understand whether he was, you know, he wasn't at Tennessee, but I'm sure he'd probably heard of Tennessee, Florida and how big of a deal it was. And he's the same way. You know, you ask him, it's just another week, right? It's just another week that we got to go out there and prepare and get ready to play our best. So at the end of the day, if we're all doing that, you know, we should be just fine.
Thanks, Jacob.
Cool. Thank you.
And then this is obviously going to be a big one. You know, national television, ESPN Game Day is going to be here. Where do you think the emotional maturity of this team is to handle an environment like that? It's kind of new for a lot of guys.
Yeah, you know, I think we're going to approach it the same way we approach every other game. All the outside noise doesn't really matter to us. We're going to come in, we're going to game plan how we do on a normal week, and we're going to come in and work hard.
I know you've said numerous times before that, like, how you judge yourself is whether or not the team wins. Last year's Florida game, you played reasonably well. Threw for over 200 yards, a couple touchdowns, didn't throw a pick. Do you think you played well? The game was lost. You played well. How would you grade yourself in last year's Florida game?
I would give myself a D. You know, I hold myself to extremely high standards to almost be perfect, you know, in a sense. But, you know, that's not possible. But it's close to perfect as I can get. And I honestly just judge it off of, are we winning? Like, am I doing my job in order for us to win? If I'm not, then it's not a good game.
And then one of the topics we talked to you about before the season was you enjoying yourself and sort of playing football like you play basketball. Has that been a reality, and why so far?
Yes, it has. You know, just kind of keeping that smile on my face and enjoying my teammates through the process. Me and Joe always remind each other of just staying loose on the sideline and, you know, enjoying the process of going to practice and the workouts after practice, and then the whole game day experience, just soaking it all in. But, you know, I haven't played to my standards yet. But, you know, we've been winning ball games, and that's the total end story that I'm looking for is, are we winning? It doesn't matter how I play or how somebody else plays. If we're winning, then that's what I'm concentrating on.
Hendon, how would you evaluate the run game overall through 3 games this season? It looks like there's been some good things, but also maybe some yards that were left on the field a little bit.
Yeah, we've had you know, a couple of yards. We definitely would love to have. Our backs are running extremely hard. I'm very proud of them and very proud of our guys up front and our guys outside. They've done a great job blocking on the perimeter. And, you know, our interior line has done a great job of communicating up front and getting twists passed off and, you know, getting to that next level as far as, you know, double teams and pulls. You know, everybody's just playing extremely hard with a chip on their shoulder. You know, we have something to prove, and that's what we're going to do day in and day out.
And then I know it's early in the week, but what do you know about this version of that Gator defense? Kind of what do they do well? What do they show on tape so far?
Yeah, you know, up front, extremely athletic, you know, great in size. They have great guys up front that play extremely hard and get to the football, you know, with bad intentions, which is great for a defensive up front. You know, that linebacker position, they have some seasoned guys in there at the Mike position, some young guys at that boundary spot. Then the secondary plays extremely aggressive as well. They're good at open field tackles and getting the nose on the ball. You know, which is something that a lot of defensive coaches preach. You know, getting 11 to the ball, which they do well. You know, in coverage they're really physical. So you know, we got to come to play just like every other week.
Hendon, in this offense, how does having experience change what you can do within this offense?
You know, the same way in every other offense, you get to see different intricacies of the offense. You know, come out when you have a broad understanding of what you're trying to do. I definitely feel like the chemistry amongst the players definitely takes the, I don't know how to put it really, I guess the end factor or end goal of going off schedule in a sense. You know, if it's some things that we have to improvise on or it's a look that we didn't plan for, we're a lot more knowledgeable of how to dissect that and get the end result that we want.
And as many times as you've thrown the ball, really throughout your career, but especially here, you don't throw a lot of picks. Why is that?
You The main focus for me is taking care of the team, and the ball is the team. So, just taking care of the ball is something that has been preached to me since I was a young age. And I can always remember, like in high school, we throw the ball like 9 times a game. I'd go like 8 for 9, 218 with 3 touchdowns. And that was a pretty good game, but, we had to take advantage of every opportunity we had throwing the ball. So that still sticks with me, take every opportunity, that we have and make good plays, make smart plays. That's just what I try to do every day.
Hendon, with Gerald Mincy playing his former teams, he talked about that at all since the other night, and how do you think he's played so far, stepping into that left tackle spot?
Yeah, Mincy's been great for us. He brings a lot of energy to the locker room. He hasn't really mentioned too much about it. He's just excited to go out there and take advantage of the opportunity that he has. But I'm excited for him to go against his former team and make a statement.
Hendon, 2 questions. One on Squirrel White's deep ball. How big of a catch was that for you to have complete or even more trust in him in a big situation to go make a play? And then 2, when you've looked at the first 3 games and kind of how you started the game, you seem to have gotten hot in the second quarter. What do you see at the start, and why do you get going the way you have?
Yeah, to just start off with Squirrel, he's an incredible athlete, as we've seen on tape. Really, I was like, man, I hope he doesn't overrun my arm. Squirrel has incredible speed, and he made an incredible play on the ball. But I have full confidence in all of my receivers when we're on the field. No matter who's out there, they work their tails off every day and prepare the right way. So, I have no doubt when the ball's in the air, they're going to go get it, or they're going to run their route how they're supposed to. They're going to make the block, how they were taught. So, there's never any doubt in throwing anybody the ball in our receiving core or in our running back room or tight end room. So, it was great to have Squirrel out there and, get his feet wet on the outside a little bit and not just in the slot. So that was great to see. And then, sometimes you start off slow. Been really excited to go out there and play, so really just trying to calm down a little bit. And once I get in the flow, it gets rolling.
And then you guys had great success with that option play. Give us a breakdown of that, what you saw on tape, how maybe on the fly that decision to run that play, your feedback on it. Break that down for us.
Yeah, the coaches just did a great job of seeing that they were bringing the cover 0 saw look and bringing both sides. So, just kind of zoning everything off and leaving the defensive end or the boundary safety, whoever was blitzing off that short side. They were kind of keying on me off of the pull reads, the zone reads. So we just zoned everything off, and it was one-on-one. Put the guy in a bind. Is he going to take me or the back? And, as you can see, every time I came on the edge, they were taking my legs out. So, gave the back an opportunity to be in open field and make great plays, which they did.
And I'm curious to know what your pregame routine is, just the moments right before you come out of the tunnel. Is the purpose to calm your nerves down? And if so, what do you do to kind of get your mind right?
Yeah, I just go into meditation mode, put my gospel playlist on, really just listen to a lot of slow jams and really just relax, kind of go through the locker room, dap up everyone, just to make sure, to let them know, hey, I'm ready to roll. And then they give me the reassurance back, by looking in their eye that they're ready to roll too. So, just listen to my gospel playlist, meditating. Me and Joe, we have a devotional book that we read every day. So before the game, we'll read 1 or 2 pages. And that's pretty much the pregame ritual.
That's a perfect breakout question to that. Before the Akron game, I saw your eyes darting around watching all the fans because it was a sold-out crowd. So on Saturday, do you know what to expect when you're about to run through the tee? What do you think it's going to be like?
Yeah, I think it'll be a great environment. We love Vol Nation. They show us a lot of love, and we try to go put on a show every Saturday or whatever day we're playing. Try to put on a show for them. But the support is unbelievable, and the fan base is unbelievable, and we're extremely blessed to be in this position.
Hendon, what's on the pregame slow jams playlist?
No, nothing but gospel. I'll say Kiki Sheard is my go-to. Either Kiki Sheard, Kurt Franklin, Fred Hammond. Yeah. Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, Jerome, after that second touchdown that Sampson had kind of on the speed option with Hendon, looked like maybe he took a funky hit and you and some other linemen were letting the other guys on the other side know about it. What was that kind of about and why were you sticking up for your quarterback?
Man, that game was it was an interesting game. It was chippy in there, but man, just emphasizing, man, during the game, just keeping competitive composure, regardless of what the opponent does. Man, just keeping our, you know what I'm saying, being disciplined and keeping our heads cool. Regardless, offensive line, of course we want, you know what I'm saying, protect our quarterback. Love Hendo, so always going to be in his best interest and make sure we watch out after him. So, and that's that. So.
Jerome, obviously this series against Florida has not gone the way y'all have wanted it to go. How do you keep everything contained to sort of just this week and not think about the past, or do you think about it for motivation? Which way do you handle it?
I see, like, I take it as a, man, it's a new game, especially with them, like, personnel-wise, coaching-wise, like, they have a new coaching staff, especially new DC. So, all that's new. So it's a new game every year. Just have the level of focus has to be there. Definitely, of course, man. It's Tennessee versus Florida. It's why you come here to play. So it's gonna be exciting. Everyone's gonna be pumped up, ready to play, man. But we have to be mentally focused, mentally locked in this week for this preparation. You're ready to beat these guys. So,
Jerome, two things. One, talk about that motivation. Is that something that what looms, the opportunity that's in front of you, does that maybe give you extra juice? And getting through practices during the week, which can pay off during the games for you?
Man, it's really it's all the same game, honestly. So you got to keep it the same level of preparation. Nothing can change regardless of who you're playing, whether it's a conference game or it's a non-conference game. All has to be the same. All has to be the same level of attention, to detail, and focus throughout the week, just in order to play a ball game and win a ball game. So has to be all at all-time high every week. So.
And is this a week maybe a little bit extra in the ear of Gerald Mincy since he's going up against his former team, just to make sure he channels that energy?
I'm pretty sure he'll be definitely pumped up. Gonna see some of his former guys, but like I said, man, we gotta keep competitive composure. It's another game, conference play, entering conference play, so it's gonna be a big game for us. But man, just gotta keep it all the same, man. Every game's the same. You gotta keep it that same mindset and that level of detail and focus. So.
Kind of going off that in the back here, Jerome, in the back, kind of going off that, Mincy is always kind of talking when the camera's around him. So what is he like in the locker room? He seems like a Energizer bunny almost.
Nah, Mincy's a great guy, really funny guy. He's a South Florida kid, so those guys are always funny. But man, he always has a good ball of energy about him. He's a great teammate, and so I expect no different from this week and the weeks leading up to it, man. He's a great player, and great player for us, and a great guy and great teammate.
Jerome, how would you evaluate just overall the performance of the run game the first 3 games of the season? Looks like it's been pretty decent, but there's also been some yards left on the field maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Man, I can see a lot of improvement. We have a lot of improvement, but man, it's still a lot to go. Especially looking back at the Ball State Pitt game, especially Pitt game, man. It's like you go back and watch the film, man. It's like, man, you're like 1-2 hats away from spring the big one. Even at this one, Akron against Akron, you just, man, it's like, man, 1-2 runs away from popping a big one. So that's just the level of strain and, like I said, mentally being focused, make sure we're on the right IDs, make sure we're just playing really hard and playing together as one. And so looking forward to this game, man. We need these running yards, we need these rushing yards. And those SEC ball games going to be really physical. Got to be able to run the football, got to be able to, stay out of third and longs, man, as you can. And so running football will be important this week.
Jerome, any of those reserve offensive linemen that you guys feel like have given you some really good game reps and are developing?
Definitely. A lot of the guys like Addison Nichols, Masai Reddick, man, those young guys have been coming along. Definitely just seeing their level of growth, seeing them prepare, watching us, sitting in with them, watching film with them. They're still new to this, so just trying to get them to understand how a game week goes, how the flow of it goes, how to watch film, things like that. What to see, what you're looking at on film is great. And so when they go out to practice, man, they're still playing really hard, and which is great. And just need to get focused on the mental part of it, watching film and relaying from the film room to the field. So.
A year ago when Hendon started against Florida, you guys didn't really know what you had yet, I guess. What did you learn in that game about Hendon?
From last year? Yeah. Man, he's a great competitor. Man, he makes a lot of plays for us. Man, even when there's nothing there, man, he can make a play. And that's what's special about him. He's a great player. Man, I love blocking for him. Makes my job easier. So, man, he's, like I said, man, he's a special player for us. So, man, we have to do everything we can to keep him clean, man, keep just unnecessary hits off him, as well as just picking up any pressure that we're going to get from third downs, even in second and longs when we're in a heavy passing situation. Just keeping him clean, as well as protecting him when we are having quarterback design runs. Man, keeping the hits off him, keeping him as healthy as possible. Because, man, he's the key to our team right now. So.
Jerome, what did you think of how Jalen and Dylan ran the other night when they came in with Jabari being out?
Man, I thought they ran really well. I'm pretty sure they'll tell you that they missed something, but man, I thought they ran really hard, as they always do. They're smaller, shiftier backs, and but they can lower their head down. They can get you a tough 1-2 yards. You know what I'm saying, when you need it. So I think those guys play well. Love seeing D Samp in there, young guy. So love seeing how he plays. He was so excited to run the ball, man. I'm happy for him. So it was all good.
Any more for Jerome? All right, thanks everybody. That's it for today.
Thank y'all.